So your man's watching a show with Marilyn Monroe, and I'm scrolling through Cyael's tweets, and I see the thumbnail of a video that interests me. I do not know the guy's name, but the video was, simply put, quite terrible and feels pretty rushed in my opinion. I'd like to preface the points that I'm going to make by saying, one, this is an attack on the points, and this is really a critique. This isn't an attack on the individual in any way, shape, or form, because I do not know this person. Also, I'm going to be making the clips which he uses, which I'm guessing is what Kate Bishop's reveal trailer, or whatever it was. I'm going to make that black and white to avoid any copyright issues, because I have no idea how copyright works, right? So, without further ado, I'm going to hopefully I'm just going to share my opinions and share what I will agree on some things, maybe, and maybe I'll disagree, and I'll leave my opinions on them, but without further ado, please enjoy.
What's up, boys? TrixRidiculous back with another video. Now, I'm not normally one to get involved in some stuff like this, but honestly, I'm making this video because some players in the community have become so ridiculously toxic that it's an embarrassment.
Oh, this will be good.
So there's a few things I want to get to, but I'll cut right to the chase and start with the big one. So in the early evening on Wednesday the 20th, some Redditor, or maybe a collection of Redditors, thought it would be appropriate to dox the developers and post some of their personal information like addresses and phone numbers right on Reddit.
So, if you didn't know, he's referring to the fact that one of the devs got doxxed, which I think he explains pretty well there. Yeah, it's a pretty terrible thing that pretty much no one in the community really agrees with, and unfortunately, because of this one individual's actions, and this individual is, next level annoying, because this individual has, since the doxing or whatever, the community has now been painted in such a way by characters like Super Rebel, albeit indirectly. I don't think he intentionally did so, and other people like this man with his thumbnail and, you know, as a toxic community, when honestly it wasn't really toxic. The only thing that was even comparable to toxicity in the early days, since I have been here since the game has been launched, I've been there since the beginning, the only thing that's been remotely even close to toxic, according to, you know, Reddit mods on the PlayVidness subreddit, is the fact that we have criticism. So yeah, anyway, he hasn't really gotten to anything where I'm gonna dissect the points yet, but I would like to take this time to acknowledge the fact that doxing is wrong, and please do not do it.
No, you really can't make this stuff up. Now, I don't know any further details than that, as the post was luckily quickly removed after posting, but you don't need me to tell you how ridiculously unacceptable that is. I mean, seriously.
I 110% agree with this point. He is 100% right here.
Now, Reddit is normally a hot dumpster fire anyway. I don't post too much on Reddit, but I'll occasionally lurk to see some sweet screenshots, clips, maybe some interesting feedback people might post. But it is all unfortunately drowned pretty hard in the hive mind of regurgitated posts, asking, you know, CD, when is Clank coming? You know, why is the game a wasted opportunity? And so on and so forth. And it's just a lot of the same over and over again.
And that's for very good reason, because if you didn't know, or you don't play this game, ladies and gentlemen, the only content we've gotten since launch is the character of Kate Bishop, which is apparently everyone's favorite Marvel character, because I had no idea who she was before this. So, you know, so apparently, so we got that 4 months after launch, and what, like a month or two after launch, we got Takian Rifts, which are just time missions, and this game does not have much content at all.
But even with all of that, I would have never expected anyone to go to this extreme. It's truly pathetic, and it really makes the community look terrible. Now, that really brings me to my next topic, and that's really toxicity overall in the community, both on the forums and also with YouTubers. Now, you can feel free to call me a shill, but I generally have a pretty positive outlook on the game, but I'm more than willing to admit the game has its share of problems, and like all of you, I'm not happy either with how long it's taking to get updates and new content. Feel free to look back at some of my previous videos where I absolutely slam Crystal Dynamics for dropping the ball on many different issues with this game.
I mean, personally, if your previous videos are like this one, I'd rather not, to be honest. But basically, take note of this, he is acknowledging that the game is heavily flawed.
That said, I'm not going to name any names, but there are some YouTubers who use Dexter's Laboratory avatars that just spew shit on the regular like a broken toilet, with the facade of, oh, it's constructive criticism, and we just want the best for the game.
I mean, that is a fact. Some of us paid upwards of $100 to enter in this, and we got a woeful lack of content. And the only reason he keeps making these videos, aside from, documenting how terrible the game's doing, is to hopefully steer it on a better course, because he has said many times, actually, in many different videos, that he just would have preferred that this game would have been better. We all would have. That's just a fact.
Now here's the thing. I have no problem with anybody voicing their concerns.
I mean, you kinda do.
With this or any game, every player has the right to be frustrated, but we don't need the same regurgitated hive mind arguments over and over again.
To combat this, we don't need the same content regurgitated and delivered to us as new content. Looking at you, Turkey on Riffs.
Yeah, the PC player base keeps falling. We knew that 4 months ago when it went from 28,000 to 2,000 to 1,000. Is it really breaking news that the other day it went down to 500?
While it may not be breaking news, it's that way for a reason. It's because the game is woefully lacking content. Plus, not the majority of people who bought this game play on PC. Most of them play on console. And as a console player, my experience trying to matchmake is absolutely awful. I have to wait 10 minutes trying to find a match. So, yeah, I think player base numbers dwindling would be something you want to hear about, and should be a wake-up call to the devs.
No, it's not. CD needs to incentivize players to come back by enticing them with some endgame content, maybe some new content and new characters. We all know that, but just posting about it every day doesn't really help. And
try every month.
And yeah, the game has 2 villains. Nobody likes that, but I can assure you that there is not a soul that is playing this game that isn't aware that there are only 2 villains. And suggesting that CD add more villains? Wow, what a revelation that is.
Could be worse. We could be attacking people who want the game to be better.
Now that's what I call feedback 2021. I mean, seriously, we've got all the hits. MCU skins, gear locking, where's the end game, marketplace costs too much, Mega Hive needs to be multiplayer, crossplay.
I mean, wouldn't it be nice?
Fix all the bugs forever and never have any bugs ever again. Tits aren't big enough. Like, we get it. These are things that will all benefit the game. And yes, some of them 10 times more so than others. But we don't need to hear every 24 hours how another day has gone by and the devs still haven't responded.
I mean, hey, you wouldn't have to if the devs actually responded.
I know some people will try to argue that just stop playing is a shitty argument, but actually it isn't. Here's a secret. If you hate everything about a video game, but you force yourself to keep playing it, you're actually the idiot, not everyone else.
Okay, but what if I like playing the game and I just want it to become better?
For anyone who keeps bringing up how the player base is falling, why don't you contribute to that yourself?
I want the game to do better, not worse.
And here's another revelation. You're obviously not missing anything if you put the game down until some new content comes out.
Yeah, that's kinda the problem.
And speaking as someone who has over 800 hours between both PlayStation and PC, you aren't going to fall behind anybody else. I still play the game several hours a day because I do enjoy the game and making content, but I can say that the returns are extremely diminishing once you're already at very high level. In fact, if you add up all of my grinding in January, I'd probably estimate I got maybe less than 10 gear pieces that were actually upgrades to what I already had across all of my characters.
Gotta commend him there, as someone with the same playing experience. He's identified a problem and he just wants it fixed. That's good, that's criticism.
It's okay to put the game down for a bit and come back when the clone labs come out. I promise you, you're not missing anything and you're not gonna fall behind.
Yeah, we're not missing anything because nothing's coming out, and that's kind of a problem. We have to put the game down before we get content. That's depressing, man. Shouldn't actually be the state of the game.
Anyway, that's my rant. The bottom line is we all want more content and changes to this game, but I've lived through enough rocky launches of video games to know that the devs are working on it.
Soon.
You can give well thought out constructive criticism, but still be positive about the future of the game and optimistic.
As funny as it may sound, I am actually optimistic for the future of the game, and I don't want the plug to be pulled just because I may have negative opinions on how some things are handled within the game. That being said, I do agree with this last point. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.